How you guys doing? Today on Age of Empires Mobile, we're going to do the one thing you've been asking for the longest of times, and it's here, the Signet Rings tier list. I'm going to go through all of the Signet Rings, Blue, Epic, and Legendary, all the costs, and go through what are the must-have rings, what are okay, safe choices, and actual flexible rings for you. And you'll get a good idea then, depending on the way your account is being run, if you're playing infantry, pikemen, archers, or cavalry, you're going to have a good idea on how good these rings are and what your path of investment might look like. So with that, smash like, comment, and subscribe, guys, and let's dive into today's video. So this is what my tier list is going to look like. We've got the must-have rings, the super flexible, more kind of flexible rings, and then you got safe, okay, and then right at the bottom, just ignore these rings. And the reason I've done it in these headings is so you know, okay, if I pick this ring, okay, it's a safe ring that I know it's going to be all right, but this might be better flexible rings, and you'll notice that that is the trend. How flexible, how many times can you use these rings, especially for a free-to-play or a low spender in Age of Empires Mobile, right? Because that is the main game. How can we maximize these ring investments on multiple matches that we're gonna work on in the future, right? So what we're gonna do is obviously complete the whole tier list. We're gonna go ring by ring on the tier list, and at the end of the video, guys, this tier list will be on my Discord. So if you want to join the Discord, check the link down in the description down below. You can click on it and you'll join my Discord, brand new one for you guys. And there's going to be roles. So if you just want Age of Empires Mobile content, you're going to be able to see all of that stuff, including this tier list that will be put up there as well. So with that, let's dive into the video. Let's talk about each ring on its own. And the way we're going to do that is like the good old way. We're going to bring up the game. We're going to bring up the game, and we're just going to work our way up through some of these rings. And you'll notice I do have some missing because I've got some, right? And we're going to talk about those rings too. So the first ones we're going to go through is the blue. We're just going to work our way up and make it nice and easy for everyone to follow, right? So the first one's going to be the Ring of Laurel. And I'm going to be honest, this one I don't particularly like. And that is because the actual skill is a siege-based skill. So it's technically going to help you destroy capital cities, you know, all those kind of PvE content that you're going to be doing, like the City Clash events. I'm going to be honest, you don't really need it. If you just have an insanely powerful ring on, you're going to notice you're going to do just as good, if not better anyway. Plus, it is a little bit of an investment, and those coins you could have used on this Ring of L'Oreal, you could have used elsewhere. So when it comes to putting the good old Ring of L'Oreal onto the good old tier list, we're gonna have to make sure and making sure we've got the right one here, because it's two very similar. We're just gonna ignore her, unfortunately. We're gonna ignore this ring. It's not one ring. It's on your top priority list. Maybe once you've got them all, you're going to buy this at the end, right? But it's not going to be on the top priority, right? And there is actually going to be some blue rings you will want. I'm going to be honest. So you're going to be like, okay, let's see where this goes, right? So going on to the next ring, easy as pie, right? We've got the Ring of Clover. And the Ring of Clover isn't actually too bad of a super free-to-play friendly ring. I'm going to be honest. It gives you troop attack, troop defenses again, but you get armor maintenance. This has a 50% chance to reduce your troops' damage taken by 25% for 3 seconds every 6 seconds. So you basically have a, you know, nice little downtime there, but the 3-second interval can be game-changing, right? That's 3 turns of combat taking basically a quarter less of the damage, it's 25%, which is nice, especially going against certain players. So honestly, when it comes to the Ring of Clover, if you're looking for something and you don't have that many coins and you're getting destroyed, I would personally say there is going to be better rings. However, this ring, when we go to actually put the Ring of Clover on the list here, we've got to find a Ring of Clover here. It's actually an okay ring. It's okay. It's not actually bad at all. I'm going to be honest. It's okay. You could even put it up to a safe ring because it's just safe. You know whatever you put on this ring, doesn't matter what it is, it's going to potentially take 25% less damage for 3 seconds. There's a 50% chance to do it, but it doesn't mean this is something you would really want to invest into. Do you understand, right? So it is a safe bet, but there's going to be way better choices up there. So that's why I'm actually going to settle on okay. It's okay. It's just an okay ring. There's better and probably even better, safer rings than you can be getting. But if you've got 200 coins or whatever it is to pick it up, why not pick it up? That's kind of some people's, you know, go-to when they play this game. So coming back into the Ring of Clover, coming back out of there, we're moving on to the next one, which is the Ring of Rose. The Ring of Rose gives you deals strategy damage. Yes, to the enemy troops, 125% damage bonus. And the thing is, with the Ring of Rose, this is actually an okay ring. It's actually a good, safe, okay ring. And the reason why is if you're a player that is playing Tactician Archers and you've not got any of the better rings, or you're just looking for that third slot ring, that's just a damage-based ring, that's super, super cheap, you could grab this. It has a 25% activation chance, which isn't the greatest compared to some of the other rings that do a way better powerful, you know, skill attached to it. But for a super, super low investment, 200 coins to get 325% strategy damage isn't too bad, especially like I say, if you're building like a YSS, Theodora, Queen, Sundok, you know, you can do that, right? You can actually put this on one of those heroes that you've got on, right? With potentially other rings we're going to talk about without spoiling it, right? So when we're going to put the good old Ring of Rose onto the tier list, I actually want to put the Ring of Rose, if we grab the right one here, actually in a safe investment. It's actually safe. It's not too bad. You know, no matter what, guys, with this 200 coins, what you're getting, it's 125% strategy damage, bang. And if you've got strategy-based heroes that you want just a little bit extra oomph to them, it's a nice, easy ring, right? It's a blue ring. You know you're going to max it out super, super easily, right? To get level 30 compared to a lot of the other rings that are the epics and the legendaries, right? Which will make your super, super focus go into, right? So moving on to the next ring. Let's not keep, you know, struggling. We need to keep this kind of moving swiftly. Otherwise, it's going to be a long-ass video, right? But we've got the Ring of Iris. And this increases the hero's critical strike rate by 5.5%. The cool thing about this ring, though, is 100% chance. And why this is a really good ring, it is 200 coins for a nice little bit extra critical strike rate for your Mulan marches, for your Hannibal marches, anyone that actually really does care about critical strike rate in normal attacks and dealing a lot of normal attacks in their builds, and it's all around normal attack damage. This is not a bad ring. I'm going to be honest. The Ring of Iris isn't a bad choice. It's 200 coins to get a free little bit of extra crit that you might not have had, right? So I'm actually going to put this in the same category, which is going to be really cool. A safe ring. It is super safe if you think about it, right? Because when it comes to the good old... Oh, we've got the wrong one in. It's in there anyway, but we're going to put the right one in there now. But both of them are safe rings, right? Both of those are actually super, super safe rings that you can have, right? So, oh, we don't even got the right one in. Let's put it in. There we go, Sneaky. I know one of you guys in the comments are going to be like, Sneaky, how did you not notice that for so long? I don't know. But we got the Ring of Rose there now properly and the Ring of Days. Both of them are safe choices. I'm going to be honest. 200 coins for strategy damage. 200 coins for some nice free critical strike instance chance. We like that. We like that free 100%ers, right? So these are safe rings. I'm going to be honest. If you're looking for just something to whack on, you'll be impressed with it. Let's just say that, right? So let's keep moving on to the next one, the full game. Let's go back. And now it is the good old Ring of Daisies, right? A Ring of Daisy. Is this ring any good? And the thing is, it's not too bad. Again, this is a double strike base build. So if you're running Mulan, if you're running Josephine, right? You're running all these Bellevues, right? Any of these heroes that you're trying to make a double attack state build, this isn't actually that bad. You, after launching a normal attack with a 20% chance trigger, you're dealing 155% bonus might damage, which is crazy. Absolutely crazy. It's just extra damage. It's almost like adding on like a little bit extra on like that weak spot attack. You get what I'm saying? So this is another, as you can imagine, when it comes to the Ring of Daisy. And that's kind of why I had it in there. Little spoiler there on the future. But Ring of Daisy. It's a safe ring, and it's, to be honest, you could even put it up as a flexible ring because it's such a good one, but it's based mainly on the good old, you know, might-based heroes. So I am going to put it in the safe choices, and you can see blue rings, even though they're super, super cheap, if you're looking for just a safe ring. You want something in your kit that you can use and you can grab on hold. You've got them, right? We've got 2 more rings here, and these 2 blue rings are the ones I actually own, right? So if we actually come out of the good old, ring area here, you'll see I actually own these 2 rings, right? And the thing is, with these rings, I'm going to give you my humble opinion on them, right? So we've got the Ring of Lily, which is going to recover your troops, and this is based on strategy. And then you also got the Ring of Hyacinth, right? Or Hyacinth. This is giving you XP towards your heroes, right? And the thing is, both of these rings, they are okay rings. I'm going to just be honest. They're okay, but not insane, but they're okay. The reason why Ring of Lily is really good, as you can imagine, it's really good on strategy-based heroes that really want a nice bit of extra healing in their kit. And what's really good about that is if you've got certain heroes that has Peaceful Haven and other active skills that say you get a reduction in damage taken when you get healed, the Ring of Lillian can actually trigger that, right? And that's a 200 cost, dude. The problem is, do you want to go for that when you can go for other rings, though, that can do this effect, but better in the long run? And I'm going to say no, right? So I'm going to honestly put this as an okay ring, and the Hyacinth is an okay ring too. If you actually, I picked this up really early on, and I've got it equipped, as you can see on my El Cid. It just helps you level up, and you will be surprised over the long period how much quicker you're actually able to level up multiple heroes on the get-go, right? So I do like the Ring of Hyacinth and that other ring. So if we go to put these now on the good old, tier list, where would we put them? Where would we put them? Obviously in the okay, right? Both these rings are okay. And this is where I honestly feel really comfortable with the blue rankings. And maybe you guys right here, put a comment down below with a timestamp on this section. Where would you put these blue rings? Maybe you might think one of these rings could be a more flexible ring, right? That's up there to give you a nice little cheeky cascade. Who knows? But I actually do think these 3 are safe rings. I think these rings are perfectly fine. They're okay to use if you just need something there and you've got it in the, in the wardrobe, you've got it. And then I just ignore the siege. We don't care about that siege one. Unfortunately, that's just how I feel. If you're going to buy a ring, you need it to do something. We don't care about siege stats, unfortunately, in this game, right? So, moving back on to the main event where you guys have been wanting. Let's carry on with the rings. So, pulling it back, we've got into the epic category now. So we've got the epic rings, and then we're going to go into the 1.6 and the 4Ks. So, Ring of Boar, I actually really like this one. So this is where we start getting to some good rings, because this is increasing the damage of your troops' passive skills by 42% and your troops' units fall below 60%. What this is good for is pikemen. If you're a pikeman player, you're going to be looking at the Ring of Boar with, honestly, drooling, because it's a 100% activation chance, right, of this happening. And if you're running a Richard, Leonidas, Boudica, or if you're running something like Richard with Boudica and even Joan of Arc, or even Barbarossa, right, any of those pikemen in that warrior lineup, you're gonna be loving this. Absolutely amazing. This is still good as well, depending on what passive effects you might have on the martial pikemen. However, martial pikemen do prefer turn-based skills. I will tell you that. So just remember that when it comes into, deciding what skills you're going to put on. But the Ring of Boar is a good one. It gives you troops attack and troop defense 13 and then 13.2% defense, which is really nice, and then 17.6% attack. So not a bad ring at all. And I'm honestly going to put this up there as a nice flexible ring, right? So the Ring of Boar. I need to make sure we pick the right one. There we go. I'm actually going to put it as a flexible ring. Why? Because if you're a pikeman player, you're most likely going to be picking this one up. I won't put it as a must-have, because I think the Ring of Boar, you're going to see that there is other must-have rings you could have over this. But if you're a pikeman player, I could see you going up there. You know what? We're going to change this to niche. There we go. That's better, because niche or special, specifics, right? Because I think if you're a pikeman player, you would pick this up. Do you get what I'm saying? If you are a pikeman player, this would probably be one of your main purple rings you're gonna be using no matter what. It's not flexible at all, and it's not gonna be like a super must-have ring where you want to get that on the go straight away, but it might be that second or maybe third ring, definitely like in the third ring slot, that you're going to be picking up to give you that extra oomph in your march. So I do think it fits that niche specific, which is the pikeman, and that actually makes a little bit more sense when it comes to these rings, right? Because there is a little bit of niche you know, cases to some of them, right? So coming out of the ring of the boar, let's move on to the good old ring of the falcon, right? The ring of the falcon grants one of the following effects: recovers your troops units and reduces your troops damage taken by 32% for 3 seconds. This triggers every 9 seconds. You can do this, right? So you're gaining one of these effects, you get in healing effect and troop defense. And now this is a ring I actually think is flexible as hell, especially if you're trying to run a, you know, support in the back. The ring of the falcon, as you can see, no matter what, if you're putting it on a like Theodora, right, Bushra, all these type of supportive heroes in Age of Empires Mobile, you get to trigger recovery of troops, which could trigger again those active skills like we talked about with the blue ring already. But on top of this now, you get reduce your troops damage taken on top. You get 32% chance, you know, well, first say 2%, 32% reduction on that, right? When you're hitting these, one of these chances, right? It's a 50% chance every 9 seconds you're doing this, and it lasts for 3 seconds. This is honestly a really good ring. I think people really underestimate it, especially you getting 15% healing effect. This means, again, you're healing from your main match. Any of your main heroes could be just going crazy right this. Troop defense, one of the main stats, so you're not taking more damage. So I honestly really do like the Ring of the Falcon. So I'm gonna put that Ring of the Falcon, and it's gonna surprise a lot of players here, but we're gonna put the good old ring in the flexible one, super flexible ring, because it is. You know, with this ring, no matter where you put it, you're gonna get that reduction, or you're gonna get a little bit of healing. And you always want a ring that's super flexible, that can fulfill, right? Can fulfill that bit of tankiness that you need in the game. And you're going to see there's going to be some legendaries and epics on the same thing. And that's the kind of beautiful thing about this game. You'll notice that, okay, I've got that purple ring. There's going to be a legendary ring that does something similar. And this could be the stepping stone that you need to get there, right? So moving on to the next ring, guys. Obviously, really love this ring of the falcon there. Moving up to the ring of the serpent, or ring of the snake. This is, again, increase the hero's strategy by 65 might bonus, right? So this is a really interesting ring. I feel like it does fulfill very niche needs. It means it's giving you, obviously, some extra stats that you want on certain heroes. I personally don't like it. I'm going to be honest. I personally don't like it. I don't like rings that only give us one line of text. I'm going to be honest. One line of stats. It's just not even a powerful stat too. The fact that it is your base strategy, okay, but it's just not, I'm not feeling it. Maybe I'm wrong on this. I'm happy to be wrong on this ring, but I'm going to honestly put the ring of the serpent in the good old ignore. I know it sounds not even that. I'm gonna be honest. It's not that bad. It's not that bad. I'll put it okay. It's an okay ring. It's not. You don't need to ignore this, but I can imagine maybe on one build it might be there, and it's not going to be on the niche specifics because it doesn't fulfill multiple heroes that you could be rocking it in. So I just think like this is an okay ring. I'd personally stay away from it. I think you can get better rings for your first purchases, especially if you're trying to get a really good purchase, you know, 800 ring, 800 ring, and 800 ring to make your match really powerful, right? So with that, let's go to a proper ring now, right? Or move on to some more stronger rings because we've got the good old Ring of the Lion up next. And the Ring of the Lion is much better, right? Because this increases your hero's might, strategy, and armor now by 65. And now this is why the Ring of the Serpent just to me doesn't make any sense, because it gets completely outshone by the Ring of the Lion. You get troop attack as well, 17.6%, so you're going to hit harder, and obviously troops defense, which is really good. So you're getting 13.2% defense, so you take less damage. 100% activation chance, guys. 100, meaning you're always going to have this online on your account, right? So if you have this maxed out, you're gaining 65 bonus attribute points to all 3 of these main stat lines, which is crazy when you think about it, right? So the Ring of the Lion, if you've not guessed this ring at all, it is a super flexible ring. Is it a must-have ring, though? I do think so. I do think this is a must-have ring, because if you're looking for, no matter what, a 800 ring, right, or even a 600 ring, should I say, right? You're looking for those cheap rings that just does something. This is a must-have ring, right? Because you can grab this one ring, you can put it on your Mulan, you can put it on your Attila, you can put it on your Richard, you can put it on your Hannibal, you can put it on your Shocker, you can put it on your Boudica, you can put this ring on anyone, right? And the fact that you can put it on anyone means once you've completed, say you've got this ring, you've put it on your main march, right? And now you're working towards maybe your Radiant Guardian, right? Your main expensive ring. Once you've got that ring, you just take this out, you put that on your main match, now the Radiant Guardian, and now you've got this Ring of the Lion ready that you can put on your Miyamoto match or your, infantry match, your next match. So this is why it's such a good ring. I honestly think it's a must-have ring on your account, and in the long run of things, especially when you're obviously building multiple matches, you're gonna thank me for it because of how flexible this is. This is the pinnacle of a flexible ring. Obviously, we've got the super flexible one here, but this is the best of that slot, right? So moving on to some other good rings now. So we've got the Ring of the Lion. Whew. But now one thing, as you guys will know, this will be a nice short and sweet one. The Ring of the Elephant. It increases our siege by 102. Just ignore it. Just ignore it. What do you want me to say about this, guys? I don't know what it is, but I don't see a world where siege is really relevant for your match. Maybe in the future, maybe there's going to be a meta down the line where I'm completely wrong and we're going to need some siege stats. But from what we've seen in the open field, rallying and stuff, you just want insane powerful rings, the best combination rings. And siege and a single attribute too is not going to cut it for me, man, especially for the cost of it. Ignore it. Just ignore that ring. It's going to be the last ring you ever buy on your account. I'm telling you now, right? So, done. We've done Ring of the Elephant. Sorry, I know, but I can't sugarcoat it. It's just dog shit, guys. It's dog shit. Right? So, moving on, we've got the Ring of the Badger here, and this is another really good one. For the first 18 seconds after entering battle, reduce your troops' normal attack and secondary strike skill damage taken by 31.5%. It's a 100% chance, right? You get a nice 6.6% troop damage reduction, which is the first ring you may have noticed on this list with it, plus 11% troops defense. And it is a lower defense because of the troop damage reduction. Now, this is a good fucking ring. I'm going to be honest. Mind the language, guys, but this is such a good, super flexible ring. Why? Because no matter what, you know what this is going to do. It gives you tankiness. So if you're looking just for a ring to give your just match tankiness against whoever you're going to be fighting against, if you see a ton of Mulans, a ton of Hannibals up there, right? You see everyone out there, even the Lubus, right? Secondary strikes and crit strikes and stuff like that, with the Guan Yus going in. Ring of Badger is going to help you out. I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to absolutely love this. It cuts the damage down, guys, by a third from that skill damage taken on the secondary strike and troops' normal attack. It's great. It's a super flexible ring. You can put this on anyone, infantry, pikemen, even if you're going to put it on something like, it sounds stupid, but if you put it on like Attila, right? Attila just taking less damage against another Mulan match could be the deciding factor on how you win, compared to them going all out on damage and they just get, they just out lose on the trades. So it's an interesting ring, super flexible. You can honestly put this on a few different matches when you're playing on Age of Empires Mobile. So the good old Ring of the Badger deserves the spot, right? Super flexible, really good ring, really good ring. So now let's keep moving swiftly on to the next one. We got the Ring of the Shark, guys. Ring of the Shark. And our Ring of the Shark isn't too bad as well. Every time your troop's normal attack hits the target, you reduce the target recovery effect by 0.2, basically 1% up to 50 stacks. So the way this works, if you're wondering what this is, it's a normal attack damage build for, again, normal attack heroes, Mulan, Josephine, you know, Attila, Bellevue, right? The good thing about this ring is I don't think it's good right now. And hear me out. The thing is with this ring, it's made for specific metas where heroes are recovering like crazy. So if you're going against marchers that you notice are always healing and they're constantly out healing your trades, this ring is very, very powerful against those because yes, you're dealing more normal attack damage and you got more troop attack, but you're cutting their healing in half. It's 50% once this is maxed out. It's 100% activation chance. Is this shark ring a must-have right now? No. Is it super flexible? No, unfortunately, it's not. So when you're looking at where this ring definitely deserves, it is going to be, I reckon, just a niche specific ring. Yes, very niche, very specific. And the thing is, I wouldn't even recommend buying it now. You may save up the coins for the Ring of the Shark and just hold it, right? Because the thing is, if there is a hero that comes out in the future with an insane hero, you know, healing ability with other heroes in the game where you just have this insane cascading of healing and counterattack damage that just outlasts everything, you're going to need Ring of the Sharks to beat them, right? You're going to need that ring. It's going to be one of the best ways of countering them. So for now, I'm going to just put it in the niche and specifics. I don't think you need it right now, but it could creep up in the future. So just keep your eyes on that. And that's why we put it in there, right? So moving on into the next ring, right? The next ring out of here. We've got the ring of the good old seahorse. And it's okay, again. It's just okay. When your troop takes strategy damage more than 1% of the max units in a single attack, reduce their strategy damage taken by 20% for 6 seconds. Now, what is this good for? This is good if you're playing against, again, marchers like Hannibal's, like YSS, all of these, you know, Suleimans, all of these guys that really excel in strategy-based damage. If you're going against open field marchers that have loads of these, you know, alliances, this ring is going to be a must-have, right? You're going to be wanting this ring. However, is it a must-have ring? And I'm not going to say it is. I actually think this is a flexible ring in the right circumstances. It's 100% activation chance. You get, which is crazy now, 17.6% defense, 6.6 troops health. And people don't understand, troops health allow your actual units, your archers, your T5 archers, to take extra damage each turn. It means instead of having 100 health, they'll have 150 health, for example. And then with the defense, instead of taking like 100 damage in a hit, you might take 60 damage a hit. And you can see now, I can actually take 3 attacks instead of 2 attacks, right? And that is actually massive when it comes to trading. Troop health is a very powerful stat, and this is one of the first rings, again, that you see this actually on in the epic ones as we're coming up this thing. Is it a really good ring? I actually do think it is. Is it a must-have ring? No, unfortunately. It's not a must-have ring. So when it comes to actually putting this up, I'm actually going to put this in the good old niche and specific scenarios. You heard right. It is a really, it's like Badger, right? I think both of these rings work more in the pikeman's favor. If you're a pikeman player, if you're an infantry player, you probably would be picking these up in your lineup, especially if you're running it on a secondary march, because you're going to be going against strategy-based heroes, right? Hannibals and YSGs. But if you don't see many of them, and you see more Mulans, like a lot of people are running right now, Mulans are everywhere, and you can imagine Lubus and now Richard with Boudikas all coming out, the main meta is might. It's not strategy at the moment, right? And that's just my humble opinion. I can, you know, you guys can argue in the comment section down below, and that's why I'm going to keep it in the niche and specific area too. It is a good ring. It's not safe. It's not okay, and it's definitely not ignore, right? It's a good ring, but it needs to be in the right meta for it to shine in. So I don't think you need to pick it up I don't think it's a super flexible ring where you can rock multiple marches with this, and it's not a must-have ring either, right? So moving on to the next one, guys, and I'm liking the way we're keeping this pace. I'm not gonna lie. I know we're hitting the 30-minute mark, but we've got so far all of the rings almost done, which is great to see, right? Ring of the Rhino can be activated during sieges. We're not even going to talk about it. It's going to be, as you guys know, the good old F tier. Like, it's just ignore, right? We don't need to worry about siege. I've made it clear in this video right now, right? So we're just going to keep moving on. Ignore the Rhino, ignore the Elephant. Maybe in the future they have a spot in our hearts, but right now they do not, all right? And now we've got Ring of Bear, right? A Ring of Bear. Reduce all your heroes' armor by 20 and increase your hero's commander might by 105 when you max this out. You get 8.8% commander might damage and then 15.4% troop attack. Now, this is one of the most controversial rings, I reckon, on the tier list we're going to talk about, because the Ring of Bear, for me, is a must-have ring. Some people might say it's a flexible ring. I don't think some people might agree with me, but the thing is with the bear is you get it on might-based heroes, and as you may have just understood in my last point with the seahorse, it's a might meta. So you know you're going to be able to put this on your Mulan, your Rana, your Attila, your Josephine, your King Derek, your Miyamoto, your Yodi, your King Richard, your Boudica, right? You can put this on anyone. Leonidas. Keep going. Just keep shouting out Lubu, Guan Yu, right? No matter what it is, warrior-based, you can put this on, because what this does, it is an all-out damage-based ring. This is out to kill people. So if you are a might player and you are trying to kill people, you are going to be wanting this ring. I think it's a must-have ring, and the thing is, what's beautiful about it, as I've said, you might be running archers like me, and you might have this ring on one of your marches. And then you upgrade. You get Radiant Guardian. You get Tranquil Water, right? You get these better legendary rings. Well, we can put the Ring of Boar on my Lubu now. We can put it on whoever we need to, right? That is the beauty of the Ring of the Bear. Same the Ring of the Lion. Really good must-have rings. Absolutely dominating the meta right now. And they're super flexible too for your actual advancement, right? On how you're going to progress formation to formation in the game. So that's my personal opinion. You guys can argue again down below. I like to hear you guys' arguments down below on if you think it's a must-have ring or maybe just a super flexible ring in the future. But that's my take on it, right? So you'll notice, where's the other purple rings, right? Because I've already obtained those bad boys, right? So we're going to, again, go back into my main inventory and talk about them, right? Because these are 3 rings that I honestly think are absolutely kind of cracked, right? Ring of the Nightwolf. After every 9 normal attack troops, increase the damage of all of your heroes' normal attacks and secondary strike skills. And this obviously scales up. So if you go to the details, max rank goes to 25%, and then you reduce the enemy's armor by 35 for 3 seconds. It's a 100% activation chance. It is crazy. It's just a crazy ring. Why? Because you're enhancing, obviously, your main damage through normal attack heroes and secondary strike skill heroes. So again, Mulans and Bellevus and Hannibals and those type of marchers, you're going to absolutely love this ring no matter what you put it on, because you're just going to absolutely rip them. I know it's a might-based ring, and you do want to obviously mainly put this on might-based heroes like warriors and stuff, but it is such a crazy ring. I'm not going to say it's a must-have ring, though. It sounds crazy, I know. Some people might think this is going to be classified as a must-have ring. The thing is, with the Night Wolf, which I noticed while I'm using it, is once I have got my Radiant Guardian, I don't know where I'm going to place it. I might only place it on 1 or maybe 2 heroes tops. And that is a weird situation to be in, even though it's such a powerful ring. I'm going to be honest, it's such a powerhouse, and it does do an insane amount of stuff. You get commander damage and troop attack, which is just crazy stats as well. So you're just out beating people per turn on just the passives alone, even if you don't even get this reduction on the armor, right? So I'm going to put the Ring of the Nightwolf in a very, very niche and specific area. Because I think if you're an archer main, I'm going to be honest, if you're an archer main, you're gonna pick up the Ring of the Nightwolf, and it makes sense there, right? If you are, same with these two, like the Ring of the Boar, right? Not the Ring of the Boar, yeah, it is, I think it's the Ring of the Boar, right? This one here, right? This pikeman one. It's super good, and same with the Seahorse, but it's only if you're that player. If you're only going to be playing archers, you're probably going to be picking it up. If you're not, you're only probably going to be using it in a couple of other marches in the game. And I think you might not like the fact that it's not as versatile, not as flexible as the other rings. And I think that's a perfect counter argument to the Ring of the Nightwolf. Apart from that, it's a cracked ring. It does a bunch of damage. And if you want that, I would personally recommend it as an archer main. It's not let me down anyway so far for its damage purposes, right? So then coming back, we've got two of my honestly must-have rings. I'm going to call them both must-have rings because they're that good. So Ring of the Crow steals basically its stats, right? If we go to the details and we max this good old ring out, it's not even a little bit of stats, guys. You're stealing 55 might, strategy, and armor from the enemy commander. And this is, strategy bonus for 3 seconds, meaning like it's going to scale up on there. You don't care about that. It's just the fact that you're taking away stats for 3 turns on the enemy commander, and that's the main damage dealer. So just think, if you're going against a Mulan and you take away 55 might and 55 armor, she's not hitting as hard, and she's even more of a glass cannon because she doesn't really have that much armor to deal with. She's there to just burst you down, so she doesn't really rely on armor. So this is making her even squishier. And yes, it's a 30% activation chance. It doesn't matter. That 1 in 3, you're happy basically this is going off. That's the best way of explaining it, guys. And stealing stats is a game changer. And the beautiful thing about this ring too, as you guys have guessed, troop attack, troop defense, and this is a very powerful ability. It's super versatile. You can put the Ring of the Crow on anyone. Any march you're working on, you can put this on, especially on the support. As you can see, I've got it equipped to my Rani right now. It makes sense. She's there to basically buff up my Mulan on the next turn with obviously her buffs, and now she's going to steal the enemy's, hopefully, might as well. So I'm really swinging into favor how good that is. The Ring of the Deer is just as good, man. The fact that you're now getting commander damage, troop damage reduction, which are 2 insane stats that I think people really underappreciate on this ring. If we hit details when it wants to load up, you'll notice when you max this bad boy out, you also reduce a random enemy hero. So this is one of 3 heroes that they've got in their lineup. You're reducing their damage by 22% and increase one of your heroes' damage by 22%. This is 100% activation chance, guys, meaning it's always going to go off. And again, just like the other ring, you can put this ring on anyone. You can honestly put this ring on anyone in the game. So because of that, these 2 rings in my eyes are must-have rings because you can change the tide of the battle so well with them. You can also put them on any hero in the game, meaning your first lineup, once you've got the main rings for them, guess what? You can then put these rings on your next lineup. And then once you've worked on those rings and you got the legendary and stuff like that, you can keep moving these. And no matter what, these rings will always serve a purpose and they will always be good. I'm telling you now. So these 4 rings at the very top, as you may notice, these must-have rings are the best of the best versatile, flexible rings that you can honestly put on your marches, in my opinion. The super flexible rings are rings that if you have them, you can put them on and you're going to get best out of them, right? These niche and specific rings are still good rings, guys, but they fill specific roles. Again, if you're a pikeman, you're going to go for the first one. If you're more of an archer main and maybe cavalry, you're going to go for more of the Ring of the Nightwolf. If you're going for the Seahorse, again, this is for tailored strategy-based damage reduction. So again, good for infantry, good for pikemen if you want to go down that line. Shark Unfortunately, we need more recovery, but once that recovery comes, it is technically going to be the best ring at dealing counter recovery, right? So these are all niche scenarios in the game that you may have. And when we go to the OK and ignore rings, you can see where the OK and ignore. I don't want to go over them anymore. Now we've only got the legendary rings remaining, and the first one we're going to talk about is my good old Tranquil Water, because as you guys may have noticed, as a little spoiler there, we had it, right? And you may know, if you follow my channel, we did obviously do a video where I span the good old hammers and then we bought some rings. And the Tranquil Water was one that I purposely bought as fast as possible. Why? It is a super flexible must-have ring in my eyes. Tranquil Water, what this ring does, no matter what, you're getting 1% skill damage reduction, troop defense, and troop health. You're getting the holy trinity in damage reduction. So if you're trying to not take any damage, whoever you have this on your march, you're going to be happy. On top of that now, when you go to the skill, you have a 100% chance to trigger, because it's a passive-based skill. For the first 18 seconds of entering battle, you reduce your troops' damage taken by a flat amount. At max ranks, this is 40%, which is so good on top of all of the stats you're already gaining. So for me, I don't care. You guys can complain in there, but the Tranquil Water, if you're looking for one of the cheapest legendary rings that does, no matter what, the best tanking capabilities, it's a must-have ring. And I'm going to obviously put the legendaries at the top now, right? It is so good. You can put this on anyone. Again, anyone who's in your second or third commander slot on your march, infantry, pikeman, archer, cavalry, you can put the Tranquil Water on, because you know that's going to allow them to survive a little bit longer, which might allow that extra skill chance, that extra skill trigger to go on, which will change the tides of battle. I'm telling you now, on top of the holy trinity of damage reduction this ring provides. Cracked. I'm just calling it right now, right? So, because we've gone through that, and we know we've gone through all the rings I own now, let's talk about the rest of the rings that's obviously in the game, right? And this is going to be obviously the last remaining 1.6k rings that we've got here, and then the 4k rings. So I'm going to talk about some of these 1.6k rings together and then some separately, right? So Scorching Flame. When your commander uses a commander skill, so this is when you trigger that main activation skill, right? When you generate rage and you can see that crazy activation thing, right? You increase all of your heroes' might by 22% for 9 seconds. Now, this is a super good, flexible, safe ring if you are playing might-based heroes, right? Now, Effulgent Sun, some people are asking about this. Entering a charge state after 3 seconds, dealing massive might damage to the enemy troop. It's a 400% might bonus, right? You get skill damage, troop attack, troop defense. If we look at Scorching Flame, we also get commander damage, rage recovery speed, and troop attack, right? So when it comes to these two rings, and this is why I've paired these two together on purpose, is because they're both damage-based rings, but one is vastly superior to the other. And the thing is, with the 1.6k ring Effulgent and Sun, it is okay if you're a whale and you're really looking for just something to bully people with. That's a free, cheap ring, because this is really good on heroes like potentially El Cid, right? Because El Cid does an insane bop, and if you follow it with another 400% bop, it's kind of disgusting, right? But that is kind of it. That's kind of it. Scorching Flame, though, is kind of cracked, because no matter what might-based hero you use, the main commander, as long as they've got Scorching Flame on, when you trigger your commander skill, right, you're gaining 22% might on all of your heroes. You're doing more commander damage, which is great, because it's technically just overall. Rage recovery speed even better, because it means you can get to your next commander skill even faster. And then troop attack just means you're dealing more damage. So where do these rings belong? I wanna hear what you guys are saying in the comment section down below. You can put it down, but I'm gonna put the Effulgent Sun in niche and specific. It is a very niche specific ring. I don't think it's a must-have ring, and I don't think it's something you absolutely need. Scorching Flame, though, I think is a super flexible ring. I don't think it's a must-have ring. It could be there. That is the thing. It could be there for the might-based heroes, because it is a super flexible ring that you know you can put on. You're increasing your might for your heroes. But it's not really doing much more. I'm going to be honest. It's really not doing much more. Comparing it to the Tranquil Water, the Tranquil Water, honestly, is giving you the Holy Trinity on stats. Imagine if the Scorching Flame give you the Holy Trinity on damage. That would have been kind of crazy. However, to me, it doesn't, right? So it's there in a super flexible. It's good for any might-based, formations. You're not going to be, disappointed with this. If you're looking for a 1.6k ring, definitely better than any of these other, 800 rings in this, right? So now we've got the Azure here and the Lofty Mountain. And the Lofty Mountain and Azure are going to be very interesting talking points, because it's going to be very hard to actually put these in the right categories, because the Azure Moon, should I say, is for strategy-based heroes, right? It's the same as the Effulgent Sun, basically. You get 10.8% skill damage, troop attack then, and troop defense. And after 3 seconds, 480% after charge and state. It's a 25% activation chance. Now, if you're running YSG, if you're running, Suleiman and stuff like that, this ring makes sense to them. However, I don't think most players are doing that. So what we're going to do is put it in the niche and specifics, because it is a very niche and specific ring. The majority of players that honestly watch my guides, watch my content, that I've noticed are honestly warrior or martial players. And those guys generally don't deal strategy damage. That is a tactician kind of thing that they like to do mainly. If you're a tactician main, right, you're going down that tactician route, this is completely irrelevant what I'm saying, because you will have this as a must-have ring for your account. But for the broader amount of players that this video is probably going to see, I don't think this is a must-have ring. It's going to be a very niche and specific ring tailored to your account. If you're going down the strategy-based route, and if you really need it for your main lineup, and you will know if you need it, because the tutorial will guarantee it'll tell you need this in your lineup, right? On your YSG, Suleiman, Ramses, it could go on anyone, right? You might need that on there. Fair enough. But for everyone else, I don't think they're going to need it, and I don't think you need to buy it and waste it, especially compared to these other two rings that you definitely would prefer to have, especially on your accounts, right? Now, moving back over, we've got the Lofty Mountain, and Lofty Mountain is a really good ring. It's a super good ring. It gives you 10.8% commander damage, troop defense, and troop health, which is really good, because you're getting the two kind of best defensive stats, and then you're getting the overall commander damage now, meaning your skills, everything you're dealing is absolutely amplified, right? For the first 18 seconds after entering battle, right? So the first 18 seconds, reduce your troops' might damage taken by 15% armor bonus, and then after 18 seconds, increases your troops' damage by 15%. Now, this is where I think Lofty Mountain is better than Scorching Flame, because the Scorching Flame is increasing your might for all of your troops, which is great. However, the Lofty Mountain is just increasing your overall troop damage by 15%, guys. Meaning, no matter what, if you're running this on a warrior, a tactician, any march, infantry, archer, pikeman, you're gaining this effect, which is kind of insane. So the beginning of the fight, you're taking less damage, so you should overall beat them on the train. And when your enemy is lower health than you, it flips, so you're dealing more damage, so you kill them even quicker, which I think is a very clever ring, but people don't really understand. It's a really powerful flip ability. So to me, when it comes to the Lofty Mountain and, again, Tranquil Water, these are two legendary must-have rings. I honestly do think so, because you can put the Lofty Mountain on anyone, guys. It sounds crazy, I know, but you can. You can put it on any of your supportive marches, and you're gonna be cooking, right? Now, we've got the final 6 rings, and these are going to be the hardest rings to invest into, because these are all 4K rings, right? And you must think, if it's a 4K ring, it has to be a must-have ring. You must need this ring, otherwise you're gonna be fucking dead, right? And that is generally the case, but not for everyone. Kind of the same argument with Effulgent Sun and the Azure Moon. Not everyone is going to be going down some of these rabbit holes, and that's where it's going to change for a lot of players, right? So let's go down and talk about them, right? Let's get the show on the road, right? We're going to go through the easiest one first, Radiant Guardian. Radiant Guardian, no matter what, is the must-have 4K ring for damage dealers. Why? If you're dealing secondary strike skills or normal attack damage, so Mulan, Hannibal, right? Radiant Guardian is your go-to ring. This is, no matter what, the best in slot ring for damage dealers in that role. Why? You increase your secondary skill chance, as you can see, for every 6 seconds, and you have 100% chance to gain double attack state for 3 seconds, and that's what those heroes want. Every hero that I've talked about so far, Bellevue with your Mulan, Attila, even, you know, like I said, the Hannibal, right? You want to enter double attack state so you can trigger off your effect more often and take advantage of it, right? And this ring does it the best. There's no other ring that obviously has this ability. This is the one. So to me, if you are going down that route, and which most players are, this is a must-have ring, right? Is it must-have over these other two? I wouldn't say so. That's the crazy thing. I would say if you're looking for cheaper rings, you could buy, you know, these 3 legendary rings nearly for the same cost, right? You've got 1.6, you know, it's going over, what, 4 point something K there. So for one ring, you can almost buy 3 legendaries. And you know you'd have preferred those 3 legendaries on your entire march. And once you've got the Radiant Guardian, you'd replace the Scorched Flame for something else, right? Is it the first thing you're going to buy? I don't think so. If you're a whale, if you're a Kraken, yes, you're going to do that. Is it something that free-to-players and low spenders will work towards? 100%. Once you guys have bought maybe 2 or 3 rings where you've got maybe a 1.6K ring, a couple of these 800 rings, right? You'll work towards a 4K ring for your first time. And then once you've done that, you'll buy a couple more 800 rings and maybe another 1.6K ring, right? And then once you've done that, you'll work towards your next 4K ring and keep repeating the process on that, right? So Radiant Guardian, I actually do think it's a must-have. It's just absolutely cracked in all categories when it comes to this game. So the next one is going to be the Lord of the Eastern Heavens. And this is a pretty good ring too. It reduces the damage of all of your heroes' active skills by 25%, cannot be purified, but increases the damage of their normal attacks by 100%. So this is, again, a super powerful ring, but this is for now niche and case scenarios. It's nowhere near as good as the Radiant Guardian, but it is still super powerful. And what I'm going to say, if you are looking at this ring, it is going to fulfill, in my eyes, in the niche and specific category. If you are that account, if you are running that formation that's going to need it, and you know who you are, I'm not going to mention it because I think you guys are just dirty, you dirty players, you're going to need that ring. But is it going to be better than any of these other rings? I don't think so. For 4,000, you could have bought so many of these actual 800 and 600, you know, rings that you're going to be just better off, right? You could have fielded 2-3 marches with rings over one march with 1 ring, not 3 rings, right? You got to remember, you need 3 rings equipped to your marches. So this is very hard when it comes to biting the bullet and paying for these rings. Going back now into the next good old one, Skyward Knight. Reduce the hero damage dealt by 15%. Cannot be purified. This increases your commander's damage though by 17% and their signature active skills activation chance by 10%. Now, if you're an infantry main, this is a must-have. It's as simple as that. If you're an infantry main, to me, this is a must-have ring because it's allowing your Miyamotos and other heroes that really do want active skills, that do have low activation chance, to have that ability to trigger them more often. And it does transform those marches. Again, you're going to have these other rings like Scorching Flame, like the the Falcon, and even the Lion and the Boar, and even the Deers and Crow that you could have equipped until you work your 4K and you buy the ring and then you upgrade, right? And to me, that makes sense. If you're an infantry player, this makes sense. Again, for most players, if you're an archer or maybe like, a normal attack-based hero like Hannibal, you're not going to be picking up Skyward Knight in my eyes, but that's me, right? So must have, done. Put it in there. Put it in there for the infantry mains. I'm not going to do you guys dirty at all. I'm not going to do you guys dirty. Now, once we put that, we've got 3 rings remaining, right? We've got 3 rings remaining in the good old list. And these are going to be the hardest ones to me because I like the Messenger of Destruction, and the other 2 rings I've not really seen too much of. And that is kind of the honest truth on that, right? So if we come into here, right, we've got the Messenger of Destruction. And if you're a pikeman main, this is going to be your must-have ring. Again, this is a must-have 4K ring that the end game you're going to earn. Why? Because, again, this reduces all your reduce the damage of all your heroes' normal attacks. You don't care about that as a pikeman player because all of your damage is counterattack, which is a passive-based skill. So 75% increase in damage is bonkers. I think it's one of the biggest increases of damage you can have, especially as a pikeman player when you're hitting multiple players because everyone's going to be swarming you, as the aim is as a pikeman player. It's a great ring. This is going to be your must-have ring for pikemen. It's as simple as that. Must-have. It's more expensive, as these other 2. These 4Ks, they're going to be must-haves for your main match, but jeez, it's going to take you a little bit of grinding to get there, guys, right? I'm sorry. I'm just going to put it there. So on the final 2, Sacred Sage. All your heroes cannot use active skills, but increase the turn-based skills damage by 50% and the healing by 55%. So the thing is with this ring, I personally don't like it. I'm going to be honest. This is for turn-based heroes, meaning like the martial pikeman. So if you again look at something like Julius Caesar, really good for that. Even Bushra does really well with this, for example. But again, I don't think this is a must-have ring. I'm going to be honest. This is going to be super, super niche for those players. If you're one of those guys that use these marches, I'm going to slap you in the face because you must be a super, super kraken to do so. But in my eyes, I'm going to be honest, this is going to sound absolutely crazy to a lot of you guys, but I would just strictly ignore that ring. I know it sounds crazy, but for the vast majority of you guys, I'm going to be honest, the vast majority of you play warrior-based marches, and martial, the only martials you guys may play is going to be something like El Cid, and El Cid doesn't really want that ring. You'd rather have the Effulgent Flame or even the Scorching one, right, on them. So you want those rings. This one, to me, sounds mad, but I would not run this. I would love to hear if you timestamp this specific part of the video. Give me a reason why Sacred Sage is a good ring, why it could be in the okay, safe, or niche categories, but it's not a super flexible ring at all in my eyes, and I don't think it's a must-have ring either. So I'm going to put it in the ignore for the majority of players that watch my content, that I know who watches it, meaning we've got the final ring, the final good old ring, and it is, as you guys know, the Everflame Wings. The Everflame Wings. And this is one ring that I actually think looks amazing in game. And this is one ring if you are an archer main and you are a strategy-based hero. You're going to be wanting this. Yes, you heard right. I know. It's not going to be a must-have ring, though. It sounds crazy because the other must-have rings are more popular for a lot more meta-based marches. However, what Everflame Wings does really, really good is it is the best in slot ring for YSG, Suleiman, tactician archers mainly, as well as you can put this on tactician, infantry, right? It's still a really good one. Why? It inflicts the burn effect for free, which is really good because it's strategy-based damage every second to them. And then, which is more important, increases the enemy troops' strategy damage taken now by 5 seconds for 9, right? 5% for 9 seconds. That is crazy, right? The thing is, you gotta think, YSG with this ring, he already hits like a truck, and now you're making him hit even more like a truck. And then on top of all of that, you even have a 30% chance to also inflict a silence effect, which means you're unable to activate those commander skills or an active skill in the game, like we've done in my, understand skills video, if you've checked that out, for 3 seconds. So for a tactician base match, especially YSG, especially Sun Tzu, stuff like that, right? Suleiman, Ramses, the Ever Flame Wings is probably going to be your best in-slot ring. Is it going to be a must-have ring? I don't think so for most players. Is it a super flexible ring? Possibly, because of the amount of technically YSG, right? And then it can goes up to the Sun Tzu. It could go up to, like I said, Suleiman and Ramses. So it is technically flexible for those players, but I don't think, again, there's many of those players. So I'm going to be fair, though, and I'm going to put it in the niche and specific, and I'm going to put it at the very top, and with the Eastern Kingdoms there, too. I actually think if you're going to pick any of these niche-specific, rings, these two are the best two out of the jobs, right? You've got the Azumu there for silence, and it's okay for an extra bit of bop. Same with the Effulgence, and I just don't like them. But when you look at the grand scheme of things, guys, when we look at the grand scheme of things, our rings on our tier list here, I think, is pretty fair. Because what I've done here, I haven't said these rings are shit. And I've not said these rings are, bonkers and made them S+. What I've done here is try to explain why each ring's good for each match throughout the video. So hopefully you guys got a little bit more information. And I've put a more investment tier list. Is it a must-have ring? Is it going to be a super flexible ring? Are these rings good for very niche or specific accounts? If you're going to be a pikeman main, if you're going to be a El Cid guy, right? Then they're good rings for those players. Are these other rings safe and okay? Of course they are. And the bottom ones, I'm confidently ignoring those rings. And the thing is, you'll notice everyone who's watching this video, you might have a different tier list, but you gotta remember, this tier list is made for everyone. If you're a pikeman main, you're gonna notice your rings that you want are up there. If you're an infantry main, your rings you want are gonna be up there. If you want to play archers or cav, the main ones you want to run are all gonna be up there. So if you're looking for the best rings to invest into, these are my ring choices. If you're looking for what to unlock, I would always advise trying to get a couple of the cheap epic rings first, and then get maybe a cheap legendary ring to fulfill that role. And then once you've done that, you can go ahead, save up for the 4K ring, get your best in slot ring, and then work on your next 2 rings you're going to need to buy for your second match. And it's as simple as that, right? And if you guys want me to do a full video about, how can we address and talk about buying rings on your account, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm happy to do that. But with that, that is today's video. This is the tier list. It will be on my official Discord, guys. So join the Discord down below. Click the link, like always. And if you enjoyed the video, smash like, comment, and subscribe. Share the video about, like always. I love you guys here in the Age of Empires mobile community. And until my next one, stay safe, guys. Stay sneaky. Peace out.